When you're hungry and in a hurry, you might just reach for one of those quick and easy snacks, but they may not be the healthiest choice. Here with us today is Laura, who's going to tell us what to eat and what not to eat. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's get started, and right off the bat, I'm doing the wrong thing. Let's talk about the yogurt.
Okay, so the Eat This is plain yogurt. Add your own fruit or your own nuts. Plain yogurt has no added sugar. There is some natural sugar in the plain yogurt, but no added sugar. And the not that are these light yogurts and added sugar yogurt. So any flavored yogurt is going to have a lot of added sugar, maybe even more than ice cream. And the light yogurts have artificial sweeteners in there. And although they're lower calories, which is why you had said you chose them, right?
Yep.
That the nutrient density is a little bit lower. So we're looking for quality of nutrients per calorie. So in this Greek yogurt, you know, we have almost 20 grams of protein and we have very low sugar. And in these yogurts, we have less protein, a little bit more sugar, so just not as much protein, not as many nutrients for your calories.
And I see you have some nuts by it. Is that just to add flavor to the plain yogurt if people just need something else besides that plain taste?
So a lot of people don't like plain yogurt. You know, if you want something that's a little bit more filling, adding a healthy fat and protein like nuts is great. Or, you know, if you want a sweet, then go ahead and add some extra fruit to it, because natural fruit does have a sweetness, but it's natural sugars, and there's lots of vitamin C and A in there too.
So natural fruit is much better than the fruit that the companies are putting in there.
Yeah, that fruit is really like sugar, you know, sugar with fruit flavoring.
Okay, great. Let's move on. This is one thing that I am doing right.
All right.
You are telling us not to use ranch, but to use hummus to dip those veggies in.
Yep, exactly. So veggies are a great choice. Again, people don't tend to eat raw veggies alone. Usually they want some sort of thing to dip them in, right? Going for hummus is a way better choice than going for a ranch dressing. While ranch dressing tastes delicious, it tastes delicious because it's made of saturated fat and salt. So those two things taste really good, but they're really full of empty calories. So, you know, 2 tablespoons to a 1/4 cup of ranch dressing could add anywhere from 100 to 200 calories and up to 20 grams of fat. Whereas the hummus provides some fiber, it provides some protein, and it's much lower in fat. It'll fill you up and provides more nutrient density.
Great. And why is it that everything that is bad for you tastes so good? Isn't that the way it is?
Yeah, we really like sugar, salt, and fat. That will have to be another episode.
All right, and moving on, this one really surprised me. You're saying to not eat pretzels and go for chips and salsa.
Yeah, so when we look at pretzels, you know, we generally think of pretzels as being low calorie, but the quality of calories is pretty low too. Pretzels are really just enriched grains, so we might as well be eating a few pieces of white bread if we're eating a couple cups of pretzels. Whereas if you're going for chips, yeah, there's a little bit more fat, right, in the chips, but often chips are coming with cooked in oils now that have omega-3 fatty acids. These chips I have here today are flaxseed chips. And then if you add some salsa, then you can add, you know, almost a serving of vegetables in there if you're dipping salsa with every bite of chip.
Well, there you go. And I guess, what if you dipped pretzels in the salsa, you'd still get some veggies, but you're still getting all that enriched flour that you're telling us is bad for us.
Exactly. And when you're looking at some sort of cracker or chip, always look for 2 grams of fiber per 100 calories. Things like flavor blasted goldfish and pretzels and some other chips are going to be, you know, maybe 1 or less grams of fiber per 100 calories, whereas your whole grain, you know, flaxseed chips have around 2 to 3 grams of fiber per 100 calories.
Okay, and now let's move on down here to the snack bars. And I told you this earlier, we keep talking about it. I always grab the chewy bar because it is 90 calories compared to 200, but you keep telling me, well, you need your nutrients.
Right. So we really need to get away from worrying about calories only. A lot of companies will just make packages smaller to give you less calories, you know, so this bar is really tiny, and so there are only 90 calories in there. It's also full of added sugar as well, and not too much fiber either. Whereas if you go for a brand like Lara Bar, or you go for a Kind Bar, those are 2 brands that usually are just fruit and nuts and maybe whole grains, you know, you have a lot more natural products product. You can understand the ingredients as well, which is great. It's always nice when you can understand the ingredients and there are 5 or less of them. That's always a good sign that your product is real food. And so that can be a really helpful way to look at it too.
Okay, wonderful. And you're saying the best thing you can do is to make your own chewy bar, or well, your own bar, and you're going to teach us how to do that later in the show.
Yes, I am.
And I'm looking forward to that. So
great.
We'll get to that in just a minute. We're back in the kitchen with nutritionist Dr. Laura Hutchinson, and now she's going to show us how to make healthy, chewy granola bars.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started.
All right, so as I was talking about before, we want to look for the most nutrient-dense options possible. So these granola bars are packed with fruits and nuts and coconut oil and really low in added sugar. We only have about 1/4 cup of honey, and I used local honey as well, which has been shown to stave off allergies in the spring.
Oh, that's something everyone wants, especially this time of year.
Yep, definitely. So, so first I've put together this mixture of melted coconut oil. Coconut oil is a saturated fat. It's solid at room temperature, but it's digested and absorbed a little bit differently, which makes it really healthy compared to other saturated fats like butter, but it gives it a really buttery taste, which is great. So it is a little bit expensive, but it also has some antiseptic and antifungal properties. So coconut oil is a great thing to add to your diet.
So even though it's expensive, you say it's a great thing to have in the kitchen because of all the things it can do.
Yep, exactly. And so I have about 1/2 cup of nut butter in here. So almond butter is what I used here. You could also, if you have a nut allergy, use something like a seed butter, like sunflower seed butter. 1/4 cup of coconut oil and 1/4 cup of honey. So only 1/4 cup of honey, and this will make 18 bars.
Oh, that's a lot. I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah, and so over here we're gonna add first some almond flour. So this is almond flour. You can get it at any health food store. So this makes the product, you know, a little bit more nutrient dense with the almond flour, and it will help the granola bars stick together. So instead of using oats, which some people, you know, a lot of people are having sensitivities to certain grains. This is a grain-free bar, so it can be helpful for people who are trying to avoid wheat and those sorts of things.
If they're not, are oats bad for you, or?
Nope, so oats aren't bad for you. Oats have lots of fiber, but the problem is when people have an intolerance to wheat, which is happening pretty often these days, oats have traces of wheat in them unless you get gluten-free oats. So, so using almond meal can be a way to make
that entirely.
Avoid the whole grain thing entirely. Then I have about 1/4 cup of sesame seeds, 1/4 cup of slivered almonds, about 1 cup of chopped walnuts,
a lot of nuts.
A lot of nuts and seeds. So this is lots of, and I use lots of different kinds because we have lots of different types of healthy fats in here. So the combination of omega-3 fatty acids, we have a combination of monounsaturated fat and polyunsaturated fat, all of which can really help with heart health, keep us full, no added sugar, no added fat, just all natural here. And then
just a great healthy snack on the go.
Exactly. And then lastly, I have 1/2 cup of unsweetened chopped coconut in here.
And what I think is so great about this recipe is usually when I have one of the chewy bars earlier that you told me not to eat, I feel like I need another one.
Yep, and that will happen when something's really high in sugar. It causes a spike in insulin, causes your blood glucose to rise, and then dip really fast too. This is going to keep you more stable and keep you fuller for a lot longer.
So I won't have to have 6 of these to feel full.
Exactly, higher quality calories.
There we go.
All right, so then after this is all mixed up, we're just going to put it into a greased pan. We're going to put it into the oven on 325 for around 20 minutes. Take them out and let them cool, chop them up, and we're ready to eat.
And there you go. Well, thank you for sharing your healthy recipe with us. We
Thank
appreciate you being here.
Thanks so much.
For this recipe, you can visit our website at mymassivepill.com later today. Now we're going to